Hey, my beloveds. I am Astarius Miraculii, bringing you a message today on how shall I say it? Aries and the equinox. We just came into a spring equinox on yesterday. And of course, this vibration is something that encompasses 3 months, the entire season of spring. And so I want to talk a little bit about what this energy represents for us, and also relative to the sign of Aries, because the spring equinox always comes in at the point when the sun enters the sign of Aries. So many years ago, I had the guidance and the prompting to write a poem on every one of the signs of the zodiac. This is even prior to becoming a professional astrologer. In fact, I never had the intention to become an astrologer. I just wanted to achieve enough knowledge of astrology to write 12 poems on each one of the signs. And before I could complete that process, I was catapulted into a full-scale study of astrology. And, the pattern was for 2 weeks, I would, embody the reality of that particular sign. And I would read everything I could find on that sign. And then I would write down keywords, both positive and negative. And at the end of that 2 weeks, I would glean from my list of key positive and negative words and formulate my stanzas. So it was like a 6-month process, with 2 weeks per sign. But before I could complete the 6 months, I was catapulted into a full-scale study of astrology. In fact, by the time I was complete with that particular cycle of those 12 poems, I did my first professional astrological reading. This was many years ago. But let me share with you the rhythm of Aries, since we have just entered into this particular cycle of the spring equinox, where the sun has come into Aries. So this is rhythm of Aries, fire of one essence, fire of oneness. Thundering down the path of life, one who fears no pain or strife, born leader, daring ram, spirit of Aries, here I am, enthusiastic way shower, child of flame, healing lamb, aspiring, striving, enterprising, assertive lover, dramatizing, brilliant, bold, and full of zest. Work day and night and never rest. Busybody, won't be still, searching for the greatest thrill. Optimistic, want the best of everything, I must confess. In generosity, I bless the world, with newness I replenish. Then sometimes the joke's on me. My start gets stood up by my finish. What hope for the seed of my creation, unless planted in soil of continuation? Persistence, filled with inspiration, brings about great compensation. Once upon a time and space, my mission was forgotten, lost touch with glory which I am, and he from whom I am begotten. Impulsive, headstrong, driving passion, hard to get some satisfaction, temper, ticking, racing time bomb. Choose to let go of these actions. Creative forces transform rudeness, arrogance, jealousy. Now disband. I will win this time ascension, resurrect the master plan. This my soul's divine intention. Lord, within me, take a stand. Come diplomacy and patience, humbleness, a worthy gold. Replace the counterfeit ego with richest spirit, golden soul. Planet Mars, raging action, changing energy on the run. Learn the power of relaxing. Be a glorious flaming sun, never more to jump the gun. Ready, set, go, new day begun. Mellow down. The war is won. I am Aries. And this is from Feast of the Zodiac, Wisdom of Astrology. I have one for all of the 12 signs, so you might be feeling drawn to experience this sometime. It's a book I highly recommend, if I say so myself. Anyway, here we are in the spring equinox, the point where all the days and the nights are of equal length. So there's something very significant about that relative to our journey down the path of life, when the days and the nights are equal. So it's a representation of equilibrium. It's a representation of balance. So what is balance? BALANCE, be all and see. See, balance is an all-encompassing something where nothing gets excluded. Everything is taken into consideration. So when we look at the equilibrium and the balance associated with this spring equinox, well, first of all, it's spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, for those of us that live above the equator. However, it's fall equinox for those who are below the equator. So we see, that ancient truth that says everything is and isn't at the same time. So as we are entering, into this resonance of spring, the new beginnings, the launching, the planting of the seeds that we can have the fruition, when summer comes, on the other, or that is down below the equator. For example, for those beloveds of ours who are in Australia, they are just beginning fall equinox. So we see the way in which, the spring and the fall come together to reveal one another to each other. So even when we are in the process of new beginnings, simultaneously, there is another reality going on that has to do with endings. Beginnings and endings come together to reveal one another to each other. As man and woman come together to reveal one another to each other, as night and day come together to reveal one another to each other, the above and the below come together to reveal one another to each other. And so what is it that you want to plant, beloved? What seeds of consciousness are you planting? What are you breathing life into? Are you training your thoughts upon the realities that you want to become crystallized and manifest for you? Or are you giving all of your attention to worry and fear? The worry and the fear that things are not going to happen in the way that you want them to happen. See, worry and fear pays attention to everything that we don't want. So it's wasteful to give all of our energy and attention to worry and fear, because in that case, we would be breathing life into that which we're fearful of and that which we're worrying about. And so when we look at, for example, this resonance of the spring equinox, it relates to the sign of Aries. It relates to the first house of the zodiac. You may be born under the sign of Aries. You may have some planets in Aries, but whether you are an Aries by sign or whether you have planets in Aries or not, you have a first house. You have a rising sign. You have an ascendant. The rising sign always occurs on the first house, which is on the cusp of the first house, which is Aries house. For example, I am a double Aquarius. I have my sun in Aquarius, but I also have my rising as Aquarius. So I have Aquarius on the cusp of the first house. which means that my personal marketing plan is very much Aquarian-like. So whatever sign you have on the cusp of your first house, which is to say whatever your rising sign is your specific marketing plan, the way you sell yourself to life, the way you sell yourself, to others, the way that you would like to be perceived by the world, and oftentimes the way that you are perceived by the world. So we want to make sure that we are leading with that, which is going to wind us up in realities of manifestation that we really do in fact want. We want to be mindful of what it is that we are mentally and emotionally planting. You see, like everything exists simultaneously. Like when you're in a state of great pain and things are very hurtful in your life, simultaneously, there are so many others who are in their highest resonance of joy. Pain and joy come together to reveal one another to each other. Sometimes as a result of the painful experiences that we go through in life, we have that much more passion about reaching that place of joy. Sometimes it's the result of the pain that we are able to come into a higher appreciation of those things which are joyful. Because when we are without the glorious things that we want, when we do finally get those things, we are in a much more exalted appreciation for them. So we see in the way in which even the pain serves the joy, you see, and we want to embrace this reality. We want to recognize that pain is an angel in distress. When you go to the core of any painful situation, you will find the joy. You will find the light, because the light, the joy, the love, the greatness owns the center of everything. See, the pain and the despair, and the hatred, and the worry and the doubt, those things are always the circumference, always the periphery, can't be the center, because light owns the center of everything. And so we want to learn how to bless even the difficult experiences within our life. What are the things that we need to let go? So we're in a cycle of new beginnings, relating to this spring equinox. But there is an equal connection and equality between the spring equinox and the fall equinox. The fall equinox is about what it is that we're needing to let go of. It is the cycle of the sacred exhalation of release, where we sort of go inward, when we go into that zone of wintertime. And so it's a glorious time within our lives. And so I offer this invocation from my album Spirit Rap, as an energy to help us invoke what it is that we want in this new cycle. Let there be God, capstone of my soul, unfailing spirit, fulfill my goals. Let there be power in the word of my mouth. I conquer with faith, dissolve fear and doubt. Let there be wisdom as the fuel of my knowledge. Let it be ablaze within my heart. I must be consistent in the game of life, that wisdom may finish what knowledge did start. Let there be love in the work of my hand. My life is a blessing unto God and man. Let there be peace as the wings of my mind, O sun of serenity, around me shine. Let there be joy of truth bubbling in my soul. O destroyer of sadness, come make me whole. Let there be abundance raining down upon me. My life be enriched with prosperity. And there is the fulfillment of let there be, for life will always give me, but as far as I can see. Let there be, let there be, let there be. And there is, and there was, and there ever shall be. And so, beloved, move forward and use the power of this cycle of new beginnings. This cycle where your soul is very fertile soil right now. The things that you plant within consciousness can more easily grow, because this is the cycle of growth. And that's why we want to be really mindful of what energies are we giving life to, what thoughts are we thinking, what feelings are we feeling, and do they really reflect where we want to wind up in life? As you move forward, know that you are your own version of the whole universe, and the whole universe has got your back. When you are in the conscious awareness of that, as you move forward in your creative processes, you absolutely will be successful in that which you seek to create, because you are in the acknowledgement of the fact that the universe has your back, and the universe that you are cannot fail. I am Astarius Miraculii. I love you so much. Be sure and go and experience my website, astarius.com, Astarius.com. I've got a number of CDs, a couple of books. The book, Feast of the Zodiac, Wisdom of Astrology. I got a poem for each one of the 12 signs. And, we can say in a poem what would otherwise require an entire sermon. So, poetry has the capacity to take us really deep, and I've been blessed to really learn the language of poetry, so that it really triggers a quickening of awareness within you when you hear it and when you read it. I also am available for psychic astrology readings, as well as transmissions of healing with didgeridoo and vocal harmonics. I would be so honored to serve and empower you in those ways. Again, my website is astarius.com, Astarius.com. Private line, if you'd like to make a call, regular phone or WhatsApp, 928-254-9535. Aho, Ashe, Amen, Namaste, Hotep, In Lakesh, Alakin, Shalom, Satnam, Hariom, Rastafari. Our sacred juices are cooked and infinitely expanding. May we always have many miles on our smile, wiggle in our giggle, tingling in our boots, laughter ever after putt in our strut, wings on our butt, always rising up at the top. There's room for all, it's just the bottom that's crowded, y'all. And so it is, and so it shall eternally be. I love you with the passion of heaven. Mwah.